Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I think I've found the ultimate budget always on Wi-Fi connection for your van. I'm going to show you what you need. Let's get into it. So what can you do? I mean, you can, as you know, hotspot your phone. That's great, but you might want your phone for other things. The other thing is you may or may not get decent signal. In a previous video you would have seen me test this on a campsite out in the wild. This is the little Tyng Wi-Fi router. It's absolute junk. So been out looking around and I think I found the ultimate solution to this problem. So before we get into the testing, it's like, what are the options? Well, we've got the Wi-Fi router like we just talked about, which was rubbish. You could hotspot your phone, of course, which is a great option. However, there are some drawbacks to that. One, if you want always on internet, that isn't going to work because you need to take your phone with you. Plus, sometimes you want to use your phone for other things, but it's just not convenient to do that. And in a lot of places, especially when you're at campsites and you're out coastal areas, etc., you might find that the signal isn't so great when you're in the van and shut the door. So we're going to do some testing. A lot of the time, the hotspotting, it's true, everything's absolutely great until it comes time to close your door and go in for the evening, or the weather turns and you want to stay inside the van or whatever it is. You shut the door of the van. It's a big metal box, so you basically lose all your signal and then it all starts to go wrong. So what we need to get around that issue. For always on, you're going to need a SIM plan from whoever your local providers are. I'm in the UK and there's 4 main ones. They all vary on different prices and things like that, but something unlimited may not be a bad idea. I like the idea of the prepaid ones. You buy them and they last 12 months and they're unlimited for that time. So you can look around for those type of deals, but for always on, you're going to need that sort of content. I had made a video before where I had an old phone and put it in a waterproof bag and put it on the roof of the van up there, and actually worked pretty well. However, it's not something really you can leave on the van the whole time when you're not there. If you want to run cameras, and then like the project we're doing at the moment with CCTV cameras, you might want access that way. So that's not the best solution. So I'm going to test a couple of bits of equipment that I've got the next tier up, so we're well away from that extreme sort of motorhome style budget. We're trying to keep it under £100. I'm going to show you what I've got and then we're going to test it. Router wise, we've gone for this Huawei. I'll zoom in so you can pick the model up. For a couple of reasons. One of them is going to be pretty obvious. We've got external antenna connections. Now these routers can be found pretty reasonably all over the internet. This particular one I got at CEX online and it was £35 delivered. The key takeaways are, like I said, number one, you've got the antenna ports at the back, so we're going to have an antenna. The second thing, and this could be true of other ones as well, we're not entirely sure, the AC adapter plugs in there is 12 volt. It basically has got a UK wall plug, converts to 12 volt and 1 amp, which is great. So all we need to do is modify that power connection to run it off 12 volt in the van. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video. I just wanted to interrupt briefly to say it makes such a difference if you could like and subscribe and switch on notifications for the channel. This will make a massive difference for me, being a really small channel. It doesn't cost you anything and I would really appreciate it, especially if you're finding things that I'm doing useful in these videos. So anyway, back to the video. A nice little stand and the SIM card slot is at the bottom. So some of you might be thinking, well, that's only a 4G router, and that's true, it is only a 4G router. However, depending on what you're doing, the area I live in, the places I tend to camp are usually out towards the coast, where 5G, well, is available, but it's not really any faster than the 4G speeds you can get. So by going 4G, you can save a lot of money on the router. And let's face it, really, you probably only need 20 to 30 megasecond to kind of run any little systems you want to leave when you're away from the van. And in terms of watching YouTube or streaming stuff, that's probably adequate as well. Certainly has been in my case. So that's where we save a bit of money there. So next up, we've got the APUC version 201, which is a pointing external antenna. Looks just like this. Comes with a load of accessories as well, which are all in the box. I'll put the link down below for this because I got it from Amazon and it was about £36, I believe, on a special If you keep an eye on it, it can vary with price, but it's usually around that mark. Okay, so we've got a 4G router and we got an antenna. At the moment, the bill is looking like about 75, 80 pounds, around that area. All readily available, like I said, from Amazon or CEX or anywhere else. So the question is, what's that going to give us? So we're looking for stable connectivity, 4G connectivity, around about 30 meg or so is adequate. We want to get that all the time, be always on, and not blocked by the metal of the van. So when you shut the door at night, your connection's the same as before. So now we need to test that out. I've come to an industrial area nearby so I can get a representative area of signal. So I'm going to do a 5G speed test on my phone now. That will show us what speed we've got outside on the mobile phone with the best antenna and all the rest of it. So outside here with the 5G aerial in the mobile phone, we'll get in between, I think we peaked about 57, probably the minimum is 29, so right in that area. So you can see here in Cornwall especially, and I think it's probably true right around the coast as well, the 5G aerial really isn't giving you much more than perhaps good 4G was. So what we're going to do now is we're going to redo that test. I'm going to put the router on its own without the antennas in the van with the door shut, and we'll see what speed we get. Okay, so the router's all powered up. You can see the various lights and all green and ready to go there, waiting for Wi-Fi clients. Power wise, like I discussed, all I did was, this is clearly temporary, cut the UK power plug off the end, used a multimeter to decide, determine which cable was positive, which one was negative, and just temporarily attached it into my 12 volt system. So it runs at 12 volt at 1 amp, so it's very low power, but that's going to work in here perfectly. So let's do some tests. Right, so in the van now, door's shut, router's on, got my old mobile phone, the old trusty Motorola, and I'm connected up to the Wi-Fi network, and we're going to give it a speed test now. So I'm just going to fire this up. We'll go to fast.com and see what speeds we get. Okay, so not a bad result really. Probably you'd be able to stream with that. That's 7.2 inside of the van with the door shut, kind of replicating what you would be doing when you would be out at night on your campsite or camping wherever. So 7.2 is not too bad. Bear in mind we was getting between 35 and 50 outside with the mobile phone antenna. So what we're going to do now is we're going to attach the puck, put it outside on the roof, and we'll rerun the test and see what happens. Puck there is temporarily situated on the windscreen of the van. Cable just coming through the window. So we're going to go back in and repeat that test and see what we get. Okay, antenna positioned. Let's give it a go and see what we get. So testing there is quite clear in the direction we're going. If you take into account, I particularly came to an area which has relatively low signal. So on the mobile phone, my actual mobile phone I use every day, with a 5G antenna, it was able to pull between, I would say 38 to 50, I think was the test. With this older technology, 4G only available in this lower signal area, inside the van with just a router was able to get 7 or 8. With the router, with the antenna temporarily placed on the roof, was hitting in near 20, I think it's probably fair to say, which would say that would double the potential speed of your connection by having the antenna installed on the roof. Maybe a little bit better. And obviously in better signal areas, this is going to have more of an effect. But even in this relatively low signal area, which you could be replicating the sort of thing you may find way out on the coast or somewhere that's quite rural, away from perhaps some of the newer telephone masts, 20 to 25 to 30 will be adequate for streaming and basic sort of work stuff if you're working remotely. So I think it's pretty conclusive. So that concludes our Wi-Fi testing ultimate setup for under £100 in the van. I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, in a low signal condition, which is really what I wanted to simulate, was able to double the speed with the antenna on the roof, which is ideal. It takes us into that window where it's going to be usable for anything that we want to do, streaming or working or whatever the scenario is. And where I keep the van generally is not super high signal, so if I want to be able to link the van over the internet and check my battery status and all that sort of stuff, there's going to be enough speed there with the antenna on the roof to be able to do that. So that just leaves me to say thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and turn on notifications for the channel if you can. The channel's been really odd recently. Some videos I do have been going really well and others not so much. So if I'm doing things right or wrong, I'd appreciate you letting me know in the comments below. But failing that, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.